All right, this is a tough one here, guys. Let me tell you. I'm halfway through this podcast. I sneeze. I started again. My nose is running. My nose is itching. I don't know exactly what's going on with this. But hey, anyway, my name's Chris Hawkes, and this is Your Best Life Defined. Hey, let's go ahead and get right on this thing. So let me ask you a question. What is the best part of you? If you were to look at you as a whole, if you were the outsider looking in maybe, and you were to look at who you are and what you're about, what is your strength? See, I think my strength is I have a couple really solid foundational strengths that actually give me the success that I've seen in my life. One of them is tenacity. I will get a hold of something and I don't let it go until I figure it out, master it, and decide whether I love it or not. Once I get to the point where I understand it and I know what I need to accomplish it, that's when I sit back and go, okay, yeah, that's not for me. Like for instance, I spent a lot of time learning how to drawing cartoon characters, and digital art was my thing. I spent about 3 years working on that continually. And while it's fun and it's helped me on my on the stuff that I do now with regard to my graphics and the design work, it's not really the center of my universe. It's not my strength, but my tenacity to go ahead and push through till I discovered that. That's what makes that so successful, or that's what makes me so successful as a whole. I think the other thing that really pushes me to success is the ability to fail. God, I fail at everything. I failed at all kinds of crazy stuff. One time I got this idea. I've always been kind of an entrepreneur. I've always dreamed of being a millionaire. I don't know exactly why, but I've always dreamed of being a millionaire, and I've always dreamed of being famous. So I got this idea in my head that I was going to sell these backpack chairs. And back then, it was before I really had gotten into the internet and learned about how to do websites and all this. The internet was just starting up. So I decided to do mail order with these damn backpacks. And so I printed up these half-ass postcards with the backpack offer on them, and I sent them out. And I'm sure most of them went in the trash because I didn't get one order. Now, I sent out 600 of these postcards. Postage back then was about, I don't know, 20 cents a postcard or something like that. So I spent a lot of money and bought a fancy ass mailing list from a mailing list company, and I went through all this crap and I didn't sell one damn backpack. Okay. And I caught all kinds of hell even now when I go back home and we're hanging out with friends and people that know about what I did. You know, the thing about it is that they they would give me hell about it, but I'm good at failing. And okay, all right, I'm not great at everything, and when you're going to fail if you try new things. That's just the way it is. You got to get used to it. So back to you. What is the best part of you? What is that foundational thing that you can count on that's going to make you successful and allow you to push through those failures? See? Because if you don't find that, if you don't start with that, and I give you some motivation and you actually get excited about your life, but you don't have a foundation to work from that's going to give you or guarantee you success, you're going to fail. You'll run out of gas, or you'll fail and you won't be able to accomplish your goal. So build on your successes, build on your strengths, and then pick something and drive it forward based on those strengths, and push and push and push. And it's by building those accomplishments that you actually achieve momentum. You start gaining momentum towards your life, towards living your best life. I mean, that just makes sense. You got to get the car moving before you can push it. Before it can get it rolling. You got to kind of start somewhere. Get a good footing, get a good foundation for success. Okay, you're not going to be standing on a muddy road pushing a car in flip-flops. Just not a good place to start if you want to get that car going down the road. And the same thing is true for your life. So, what's the best part of you? Sounds like an interview question, doesn't it? So tell me your strengths in the interview. He's like, tell me your strengths. Now, we all know our weaknesses. I got all kinds of weaknesses. I am so insecure, and I don't mind admitting that. Insecurity and being honest with yourself is essential. If you lie to yourself, everything you do is going to be based on a lie. And that's the hardest thing for any of us to do, I think, is to be truly honest with ourselves. I remember that when we first started talking about it, I started thinking about my life, and that cycle for me started with my dad. Okay, when my dad got sick and then he subsequently died, I was in just a tailspin. I didn't want to do anything, didn't want anything to do with yard work or the house or anything. I was just questioning everything. And eventually I got my footing, and eventually I kind of found some direction. And it was based in that tenacity, and it really came from understanding and being honest with myself about what was important to me. See, for the longest time, I didn't even question the fact that I owned the house, all that stuff. I worked every day and didn't have time for anything I loved because I had 2 jobs, because my driving force was to be rich or to have money. And it was only when I stepped back, and I remember before I actually had discussed it with my wife, I was sitting in the basement working on stuff, drinking too much and doing all kinds of destructive behaviors. And then I just realized I'm not happy. And that was a hard one, because imagine when you tell your spouse of, I think back then we'd been married about 40 years or about 30 years. And I said, to tell your wife you're not happy with your life, I mean, that could mean anything, and you could get any kind of reaction, and it was scary. And it could have resulted in us separating. Maybe she didn't have the same plan as me, but sometimes, no matter how difficult it is, no matter how much you want to avoid it, it starts from there. And it starts from being able to say, this is where I am and this is where I want to be. And then once you pick that point, you start from the best part of you. You start from the best spot that you can possibly come up with. And for God forbid, don't be picking something because someone else likes it or because you think it's going to be good for you. You know you, and if you aren't honest with yourself and don't know you, that's where you start. But find that best part of you, and then pick something that really works for you. Pick something that actually inspires you. It doesn't have to be some amazing thing. It's okay to be average. As long as you get excited about it, as long as you're energized about it, as long as when you get done with work and doing all that crap you have to do, you can still find the energy to continue to do that thing that you're working towards, that thing that's going to give you your best life. And do it. I mean, and if you fail. So what? Failure is a part of success. Ask any successful person. Ask Oprah Winfrey. Send an email off to Will Smith or anyone who has ever been successful. And they'll tell you they have failed way more than they've succeeded. And even now, every time I sit down in front of this microphone, I feel like I'm failing. I'm failing you because I don't really value the stories I'm telling. I don't really value the information, or I don't see it as a value for you. I mean, granted, it worked for me. I can look at my life and I can say, you know what? Because I did this, this, and this, my life looks like this. I am debt-free. I have the freedom to make more choices than I'll ever be able to make in my lifetime. But for me to tell you, hey, this is what you should do, it sets me a little bit off. It makes me a little uneasy because I just don't, as much as I want to, I just don't know if I'm the one that should be telling you this. But you see what I'm doing, right? You see where I'm at. I'm sitting right here in front of this microphone, in front of this video camera, doing what I do. And it sucks sometimes. But what else are you going to do, right? So take a look at yourself. I know we're in and what's really funny about this is that we're amid some struggle right now. We have COVID-19 going on. We have riots in all of our major cities, which thank you guys. Thank you for stepping up. I don't have much appreciation for looters. I don't think that there's any excuse to steal from people or to take things that aren't yours. And if you're a part of that or people around you are a part of that, you have an obligation to yourself and to this cause, to the bigger cause, to find equality and eliminate the discrimination and the social injustice, to hold those people accountable, because all they are doing is diminishing the message. There is no reason. You don't meet hate, you don't meet anger with anger. Kindness and empathy. If there was anything we could learn from Martin Luther King and the message, is that we can be kinder, we can be more submissive, we can be gentler in our demands for justice. And it certainly doesn't involve breaking windows on some shop owner's property and stealing all their property because the opportunity exists. So if you're involved in that, shame on you. I'm going to throw that out there while I'm on this, because that is definitely not the best part of any of us. But I don't know. Grab a hold of it. Take a look at it. You can do better. And when I talk about living your best life, it's not about living an amazing life. You don't have to go sell everything and buy a fifth wheel and start traveling around the country. But what you do need to do is be honest with yourself, honest about how you truly feel about the effort you put in and the return you get on it. Because for every choice we make, there is a certain amount of struggle. I don't care if you're the homeless dude who sits on the corner of some intersection for 7 hours a day, or you're me who lives in a fifth wheel and travels around the country. There is a dark side to these choices. There's parts of this that I just truly do not enjoy at all. But I'm getting my money's worth. In spite of that, I get a lot of adventure and I get to see a lot of things. The return on that struggle is really good. It adds a lot of value to my life. And in the end, that's the ticket right there. In the end, that is the key to our success, is to make sure that when we make our choices, when we make those decisions, that they add the value that substantiates the struggle. I mean, I've climbed a lot of mountains, and climbing mountains isn't fun, but the getting to the top and hanging out and realizing you've accomplished something you didn't think you can do, that is worth it for me. May not be worth it for you. And by finding your best self, by finding the best part of you and building on that, you are more likely than ever to be successful in your endeavors. You can't be me. You can't be your neighbor. And I guess that brings me back to that point. If you're not your neighbor, why are you living your neighbor's life? And if you're not your friends, why are you living your friend's life? That's really the question. So, and I got a little background noise. Apparently they're doing a little dirt work outside, which doesn't really have anything to do with anything, but in case you're hearing that, that's just what that is. But anyway, hey, listen, guys, I'm feeling pretty good about this. I still have some apprehension with it. I'm trying to give you quality, trying to get you to think about it. Your best life is one choice away, and when it's built on the best part of you, the success is there. Success is coming. And it's just a matter of having the tenacity and the fortitude to stay with it. And don't listen to your friends. If you want to have advice, if you want advice from the people that are around you and the people you love you, I'm going to tell you what, 90% of the time they're going to tear you down. They're going to say that's crazy. And it's not because that your ideas are actually crazy. It's simply because by agreeing with you, that says that they're deficient in their own lives. So don't count on that. Don't let anybody deter you. I'm sure most of the people in my social circle right now think I'm nuts for what I'm doing. And I don't care. I'm doing this for me, and I'm doing it for those people who are ready to actually start living life instead of being drug around by the nose from it. There is a better life out there. Your best life is waiting, and all you have to do is go get it. The question is, are you ready to? So anyway, I could keep rolling, but I'm not going to. I hope you're doing well. Stay safe out there. You know, your voice needs to be heard, and it needs to come from a platform of kindness and empathy and consideration. And I know our life and our world is in turmoil right now, but we can make it better. We can make it better. And it starts with us. It starts with becoming better people, becoming more informed, more educated, and more driven towards creating this sense of unity that needs to exist in our country to make us great. And for those who seek to divide us or to take advantage of the opportunities that they see for themselves out of selfishness, shame on you. And we have an obligation to hold those people accountable. If you're a cop and you have a tough buddy who thinks it's okay and is talking smack about the civil rights issues and the inequality and the illegal activities and the excessive use of force, put them in their place. They don't belong there. They don't belong working with you. And if you're in a community where you've got friends and family who are talking about how they got their stuff and they're breaking in and doing this and they're going out for their own gain, hold them accountable. Because it's only by becoming our best selves that we become our better as a community, become better as a nation. So anyway, as always, just remember, my name's Chris Alquez, and today is your day. Make it a good one.